I think that to preface the tips that we're going to go into, I think it's really, really important to slow things down enough to check in. What are you attracting? What's showing up? What kind of situations and interactions do you have with people? What do you feel about things? Or so it's an assessment, a wee bit like what we just did with the assessing ourselves on a scale.
Totally there.
Yeah. Because it actually will see, are you a magnet to things that piss you off? Or are you a magnet to things that light you up and that make you feel happy and calm and in flow?
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
This is our deliciously motivated mindset conversation / podcast with,
Here we go.
Debz, that's me, and Moira, and that's you.
That's me.
With the
Hi, dear Deb.
Hi, my lovely. Oh my God. I don't know what today's going to bring with our topic, but cool, blimey, especially after what we've just talked about for the last hour and nearly half-ish.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I love how these just work, and when these topics come up, they sink so into our life, our life of what's going on.
Yep.
And we get the old giggles, of course this is what we're talking about. Isn't this what we just talked about beforehand?
Yep, for the last hour.
So, yeah, that's it. So welcome everybody to our deliciously motivated mindset conversation. It's a conversational podcast. Actually,
well, we have a conversation, but it is our podcast.
Yeah,
so
that's
I guess it's both.
It's both. Okay. It's a C and a P. That's it. Conversation and a podcast. Yeah. And if you've listened to us before, fabulous. Thank you for coming back. And if you haven't,
welcome.
Yeah. And please come back before we even start. And each introduction is different to
the last one.
Every podcast.
Yep.
That's the one.
Yep.
But one of the things we do have consistency in, apart from making us laugh, or that might be just me laughing at Moira or what I'm about to say. But one of the things we do have a level of consistency at the start, in the middle, at the end, is just checking in on ourselves emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, our PEMS.
That's our PEMS.
That's
physical,
our PEMS.
Emotional, mental, spiritual. Yep.
That's PEMS. The one. And it's just about rating ourselves. And there's no right or wrong, no good or bad in this. You're just going to give yourself a number. And the numbers go 10, which is between a 9 and 11 for those who don't get my accent. And that is absolute shambles, chaotic, frazzled,
crazy making stuck. Yep.
Yeah. Lick your fingers and put them in a power socket. It's that. It's crazy. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't try it. Don't have to test the 10 out. And that's when you're completely frazzled. And then there's a 0 is our intention to take you to. And that is a beautiful space where you just, things come into your world and they just come out just as quickly. And it's all ease and grace. And I'm not going to say peaceful. I'm going to say blissful.
Flow. I like and flow.
Yeah. Blissful and flow. That's the one.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we check in, Moira and I check in where we are at. And then at halftime, and so please do that yourself. Then at halftime, we do it again. And then at the end, I'm just going to have a little
oh, she needs to clear her throat. Wonder what's going on in here.
I know. So now I'm like, And then half time we do another check. And then at the end we do a check. And our intention is to bring you, it is getting a bit husky, my voice there.
Husky voice here.
Hit him. And our intention is to bring you to the 0. But do not panic if you don't go to the 0, because it's okay. Our intention is just to bring you to a lower number.
And it's just about giving you a gift or a little tool of assessment and awareness, right? That's really what we're doing.
Yeah, and so you don't have to hold on to this and go, oh my God, I was an 8, and at the end of the podcast I was still an 8, and oh, I'm such a bad person, I'm an 8 and I haven't shifted, and an 8 and an 8 and an 8, and oh no, none of that. Please, no crazy
making stuff here.
Yeah, that's it. So in saying that, Moira, what are you right now?
Right this very moment, I am a 1.
Oh.
Part of me was thinking I was at a 0, because I was like, well, I'm actually pretty calm and sorted out. We had lots of great fun on our conversation before we hit record here. But I'm intrigued by the this topic that we're doing today. And it's really funny watching you with your
I know.
Because I'm feeling like on the verge of sneezing. So it's like, I was like, oh, there's something going on here.
So if Moira suddenly starts talking and then stops and you hear me laugh, I'll just know that she's just sneezed.
I sneezed. Yeah.
And I'll let you know if she actually sneezed into an elbow or what she did. You'll hear me laugh. Well, interesting, because I would have said I would have been a 0.5, but I'm actually going to say I'm a 1.5, because the more I talk, the more it's going husky, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Because as we all know, physical symptoms come in when we're not listening to our intuition, when we're not seeing what's going on around us, and the physical symptoms come and go, okay, let's just level her up. Let's just really show her.
Have her pay attention to this.
Yeah. Wake up. Yeah. So I'm going to say a 1.5 for me. What did you say you were?
1.
1.
Yeah, 1.0, 1.5 for you.
Yep. So there's no right or wrong in that. There's no right or wrong. That's just where we're at, and it'll be interesting to see where we go at the end, and if my voice changes.
Yes, this husky, sexy voice over here.
So have a husky, sexy voice. So all the way. Yeah, it's when they say you got a face for radio, and you're like, oh, thank you. No, hang on a minute. As we do a podcast. Yep. Anyway, so we're a 1 and a 1.5. Let's kick it off. Write that down. Grab your pen and paper, peeps, because this is a bloody good one.
Bloody good, she says.
Yeah, it's a bloody good one. That's the old Aussie Kiwi wording in there. What we're talking about is, what are you a magnet to? Mm-hmm. What are you a magnet to? So, Moira, let's kick our tips off. What are you a magnet to? What do you want to say before we jump into these tips? Because I feel there's got to be a pre-frame of this stuff.
Yeah. So I think that what are you
as I cough offline.
As she mutes herself to have a wee cough and clear her throat, I think that to preface the tips that we're going to go into, I think it's really, really important to slow things down enough to check in. What are you attracting? What's showing up? What kind of situations and interactions do you have with people? What do you feel about things? Or so it's an assessment, a wee bit like what we just did with the assessing ourselves on a scale.
Yeah, totally there. Yeah.
Because it actually will see, are you a magnet to things that piss you off? Or are you a magnet to things that light you up and that make you feel happy and calm and in flow? So it's about it's one of my favorite types of questions. I find it very, very healthy, as is what. Because what is solution focused, and it's also looking to engage.
So much better than why.
Absolutely. In fact, I think all why questions need to be reframed into what. As opposed, well, actually, that's a really good example, right? Because if you have a situation where you keep attracting the same kind of scenario, and you go, why is this always happening to me? Why does it always seem to go this way? I'm always
Why does it happen to me and not my sister? Why does it happen to me? And why does it always happen to me and not my, my team? Or why me? Why me? Yeah.
And as opposed to, what am I bringing in? What am I a magnet to? Therefore, what? Because that gives you power. Because that actually allows you to say, what what is it that I'm attracting? Do I like it? Is it in my preference? Does it feel good?
Yeah.
And that leads us to those 3 questions that we've often talked about that I love to help
I've
people.
got them right here in my little love heart. Yeah.
Yes.
Post-it
So
note.
is this good for me? Is what I'm attracting, is what I'm a magnet for or magnet to, is it good for me? Yes or no? Is it good for the other or the others? Yes or no? And do I want this?
When answering those questions, I'm just going to say, don't overthink it. Just,
you
is
have
it
to
good
be,
for me?
it's immediate. Yes or no?
Yeah,
right now.
Oh, I need to think about this. I need to write it down. I need to write 50 journal things, and I need to work it out.
Contemplate
and it's like,
on this.
Oh my gosh, no. What are you a magnet to? Overthinking.
Yeah, maybe getting stuck in my head.
I love that. Being a solution focused. I love that part there.
Yeah.
And I think and that and the slow down part, because if you're not slowing down, and it's not saying stop, and you I'm actually going to use another thing, number 2 is watch your words.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go back to Moira's is slow down. She said slow down, and I wrote that down. So she didn't say take a break, because you hear people say, oh, I need to take a break, I need to have a rest, or I need this, or if only, I just need to stop. Well, you've got to be careful of these words, because if you say I've got to take a break, what's going to happen to you? You're going to get a break, and that break is going to be a physical or mental.
You might break your arm, or might break
I know,
something that you don't really want to.
So watch your words, because and I say the universe, you can call it whatever you want, is always listening. When I'm listening to clients, they literally tell me their problem in the first 15 seconds I've got their issue. And then they divert and go on the big crazy ass train, and 5 minutes later, actually you don't even get 5 minutes later of telling that story, just for the record. If you think you're going to show up and talk to me, you're not getting 5 minutes of that. You've already told me your issue. So let's just stop it there and stop putting all those other things. So watch your words of what you say. And we watch your words to the universe, because it's always listening. But the other thing is watch what people say. We know that we know words and actions. Oh, I love you. Okay, that's words. So it's not just your words. It's listen to those words. Watch words. Oh, I love you. But your actions are saying, I'm going to avoid you for the next 6 months. Oh, I love you being in my life, but I'm avoiding you. So it's those actions versus words, as well as the other spin on watch your words. So watch what you say, watch what you ask, get clear on what you want, get really specific on what you desire. Maybe not want, maybe desire. What do you desire? I desire to have a fulfilling life. So what does that look like? Don't just say a desire to have a fulfilling life. What does it look like? Do you want to wake up to sunshine every day? Wake up to rain, but be realistic. And if you're going to think you're going to wake up to sunshine every day, that's great. But if you live in a climate where it rains every day, that's not realistic. So watch your words to the universe, and watch the words of those around you.
And because it's an illustration, so watching the words that coming out of your mouth, as well as the words of people around you, is that right there shows you what you are a magnet to. Are you a magnet to people always bitching and complaining and shaking their fist at the man or the government, or are you?
Oh my God, the government! Oh my God!
I'm not a magnet to that. I know that.
Oh.
Or are you a magnet to people who want to talk about gardening and cooking and creativity and mindfulness and mindset?
Well, we know we gel towards those people who and you can hear me in conversations when people start talking about stuff. I'm literally beep, beep, beep. I'm like that truck reversing out of that conversation when people talk about things that I don't want to be a part of. I'm
aware myself. I actually had a conversation yesterday where in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to have this conversation. But of course I can't suddenly go, oh, well, I guess I could have. Whoops, the internet dropped. But so for me, I actually was very aware that I was being very neutral in my face, because I'm kind of like, I'm not a magnet.
I struggle with my poker face.
That. Yeah, I know. I do sometimes too. I do sometimes too. And that's why it sticks out in my mind, where I have to go, okay, no reaction, no reaction, no reaction, no reaction.
Yeah.
Just, okay, you know, I'm letting you speak, but I'm not going to react, and because I'm not a magnet to this. Right.
Well, I think that's another tip is you don't have to agree with everybody.
Yes. That's
just because you literally were just saying pretty much that is you don't have to agree with it. Yes, you can. People want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. Mm-hmm. I can see you. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I can hear what you're saying. Totally hear what you're saying. And I acknowledge your pain through this. I don't have to agree with it.
Yes.
But
and you don't have to go into telling another story about it either.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, seen, heard, and acknowledged. I think that's
I like
a goodie.
That a lot. Seen, heard, and acknowledged. And so
don't agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
that's what we've been taught grown up.
Yeah.
I believe we've been brought up to just agree with everybody.
Yes.
You know, just agree and say sorry and say thank you and do this. It's like, I don't want to. Go hug your granddad. I don't have any granddads here now. But I mean, go hug that stranger. I don't want to hug that stranger. You know, it's that whole, you know, we've been brought up to doing that. I think we have anyway.
I agree. I actually can remember times as a kid. My dad used to get us all to do that. I'm the oldest of 5 girls. You can imagine that there was quite a few crosswords and little falling outs, and
you'd have to be the first one. So you would have to, if you didn't do it, the others would go, we're just watching Moira.
Well,
so if she's not going to do it.
But that was Dad's thing was you have to go and hug your sister and be like, but I don't want to because I'm really pissed off with her right now.
Yeah. You don't have to agree. Yeah. And I guess it's I was talking to a client a while ago and she was saying with one of her children is, but my child is doing this and this. I'm like, yeah, but that's what you brought that child up to do. You brought that child up to speak and not let anyone stand in their way and do this. And it's like, yeah, but not to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's the difference. Not to me, but they've got to subordinate to me, but not anyone else in the world. I'm like, you brought your child up with that. You suggested that they do this, and this is, don't let anyone take your shine away. Don't let anyone. Okay, well, that includes you, Mum. You know?
I love that, because I think that is so important, because right there, it's setting it up for that child that there's a inside thing, the truth over here, and then the way you are over here with other people.
Yes,
that's confusing.
Yeah, it is. But I think the more we get older, well, actually, I don't know if it's the more we get older, the more I see this stuff back in the day. And I mean, times have changed from right back then.
Of course.
You know, right back then.
Right back then. Way back then.
Way back when black and white TV was around.
I remember that.
I didn't even think I had black and white TV.
Oh, we did. I did.
I remember when cakes of chocolate were $1 and they were those big king size cakes. Now they're like $6 or something. Remember they were $1 and that was a treat. But yeah, you don't have to agree. But yeah, and I guess that goes back to our other 2 points is watch your words and slow down.
Yeah. But the thing is that this is a really big one. This, you don't have to agree. You don't have to agree, but you don't have to walk around saying, I have an agenda and you have to agree with me. It's about allowing you to have the right to your opinion and what's right and wrong, as well as giving the stance to everybody else to do the same.
One of my pet hates is we're going to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Yeah, we're going to agree to disagree. I don't think so. You're going to agree on me. But that's actually when people say, if you want to peeve me off, just say that. We're going to agree to disagree, because I tell you what, my poker face there ain't no poker. It's a P face for sure, and it ain't no poker face. But that's exactly it. We don't have to agree. But that's just one of my trigger sentences. But we don't. But as a child, and the teacher tells you to do something, or you're an employer, an employee, they tell you to do something, but you don't want to go against your soul. And I know if people are paying you to do jobs and things like that, and it's just about being able to go, actually, this doesn't feel right for me. This goes against my morals and ethics I've been brought up with, or this doesn't feel comfortable saying this just because you want me to say it. I just, because you're going to get, I was going to say you're going to get hurt. You're going to have experiences that are pretty uncomfortable at the time.
I agree with that, But I also
You're going to agree to disagree. Watch this.
No, I just wanted to add in another
Yeah.
wee piece there that just occurred to me, is that when we are like, you and I run our own business. So, and I joke about that to my husband, that my boss is a real bitch. She makes me do.
My boss puts me 11 o'clock at night doing blooming stuff because I've got to get it done for the next day.
Mine too. I But I'm thinking back to times when, when we were younger and we did like minimum wage grunt jobs. And when you're asked to do something that maybe you didn't want to do at all, but it was part of the job and this is what you're being paid for. And so rather than get into a whole big inner dialogue about this sucks, I hate this, I don't want to do this, blah, 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 that's creating a whole big messy energy, which then potentially can make you a magnet for other crappy yuck. Whereas if you just reframed that and just said, this is a part of the stepping stone to my next best opportunity, right? It's like that we are constantly evolving and doing it. When I first moved from Scotland to Canada, I did take minimum wage jobs, just because it's like I'm finding my feet in a new country. And it was part of, like, at that point when I was doing all my corporate work, I was an office manager.
Yeah.
So, and people would look at me, what's an office manager doing working in a coffee bar at minimum wage? Well, I'm just finding my feet here. And because to me, I feel like while I'm doing something, it's not my choice. I actually had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that work. In fact, it was funny,
Well, that would have opened up your whole human behavior very differently. Working in I used to work in a bar and I'd never drink, but my people go, but why don't you drink? Why don't you party? And I'm like, why do you work in a bar? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm socializing till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And getting paid for it and doing what I love, and I'm safe behind here and I don't need to drink. And why would I want to drink when I see all you lot?
You're entertaining me.
And that's all part of that human behavior. That would have been that whole different world, being in an office to working in a coffee shop.
Right.
Different conversations. Yeah.
Different conversations. I actually made lots of friends, and it was funny because everybody thought that it was my coffee bar.
Oh, really?
Because I owned it.
I loved it.
This is my place, and welcome in and have a coffee. That's just my energy, right? But you see what I'm trying to say? It's like when we do those mundane jobs, we can choose. We have a choice right there to create a whole load of resistance and this sucks and I hate this and I don't want it and blah, blah, blah. But then potentially you're a magnet then to all these other things, relationships, situations, experiences that suck as well.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a mindset piece, I believe.
Yeah, it's I was just thinking of as you were talking about that. I love that. And you can label it a mundane job. You can label it whatever you want.
Of course,
and they're just labels. I think that's the other things there. My tip is sort it. Just do it. Nike, just do it. Don't let it simmer. When you're seeing it come up and you'll see it again, and they say, oh, there's a red flag. I saw that red flag. I'm like, well, at the time it was a light pink, or it was a baby pink, and then it was getting a little bit darker, and then it got to the orange, and then it got to the flipping red rag to a ball,
crimson red,
whatever it is. Yeah, that's it. And then it's everywhere. But the moment you see it, and I say the Nemo fish, and the Nemo fish comes in, and it's such a tiny little fish, and I hear Ellen DeGeneres' voice there.
Yep.
The Nemo fish comes in, and it's this little voice, and it gives you a little slap, and you're like, oh, okay. And then comes the gurnard. I don't know what fish you've got. That's a medium-sized fish over there. We say gurnard. We'll say that one. And it's a little bit thing. And then comes the tuna, and it's a little slappy-ish thing. And then comes the dolphin that you think is a fun to play with, and the dolphin gives you a whack, and you're like, oh. And then comes the shark. And each one has a bigger bite and a bigger impact. And then the very last one I find is the whale. Now, the whale got me back into my business, 17 years ago. But the whale immobilized me. It took my house out. It took my physical out. It took my mind out. Like, it literally took every single thing away from me that I had to rebuild.
Right.
Do not get to the whale.
Yeah.
Do not get to the whale.
Because that's what are you being a magnet to?
Absolutely. But
haven't
you're
dealt with
ignoring
the other things. Yeah.
step number 1, slow down. What's
Yeah.
showing up? Like, so get the Nemo and go, oh, okay. The tuna hurts. Like all of them. Tuna. I say tuna. I can hear myself say tuna because mum and dad's sushi shop. Can't say tuna. I have to say tuna. I'm like, I can say anything. Do you want tuna or tuna? Probably wasn't the best person to be in there. But so my key is don't let it simmer. Don't let it get to the tuna, the shark, the dolphin. Like, don't let it get to those things, because you're better to address it now. Don't let it simmer. The moment it starts, go, and work through it the best way you can, which we're clearly giving you tips, but just don't park it. Respect yourself and diarize it and deal with it. Because
so it's a really good point, because you sharing that story, and I know I've shared my story too, that's in alignment with that, of when you need to do something, just do it. Like take care of it, because my example is the stopping offering massage therapy. And I know, because I knew, like, I actually did it for a year, and that whole year I knew, and I kept saying, I'm going to stop. It's not my thing anymore. I'm moving more into the coaching and mentoring and tarot cards and all that kind of stuff. But my whale was me breaking my arm, falling headfirst down the stairs and breaking my arm.
Good old Deborah laughing, falling headfirst down the stairs and breaking her arm, and Deborah's laughing away. Yeah, there's a difference between us two consulting. But that's exactly it. So she got that. That
was the whale. That was the whale. And it was, because that's the thing, is that, and to your point too, it's like when the whale lands, it's like you're immobilized. You're like, bonk, enough of that. Yeah, I'll get to it. I'll deal with it later. No, now.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Got this medical condition, I can't walk now, and I've got this. It's like, when did it come up? It's about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
What'd you do about it? Nothing, I carried on. I thought it would just go away.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't just go away. The magnets come to show us stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the key piece about slowing down enough to recognize, wait, and just go, look what happened. This is something that I talk a lot about with the meditation teaching, is that it's so important for us to look at how can we be the observed and the observer in the same moment, or the watched and the watcher in the same moment. So that means it's about just taking a deep breath. You could putting your hand on your heart is a perfect way to do this. Is just to kind of come in and go, okay, look, he's feeling a bit tired, a little bit nervous energy.
Your PIMS.
Yeah, where's your PIMS?
Your number 0 to 10 is
Yeah.
out of order.
Yeah. And just going from there.
Yeah.
Operating from there.
Yeah.
That helps you see, what are you being a magnet to? What's coming in? Because it's all gifts. Like, this is something about talking about gratitude too, is like being grateful for those little fish taps, the little Nemo ones, and saying, thanks. I appreciate this. I'm going to do something about it right now.
Yeah. Oh, it is. I think, I'm going back. I've actually just added 2 tips, and those tips are the hand on heart, because that must be a separate tip. Definitely. I think. And then the gratitude is another one. But I'm just going back to that one about sort it, don't let it simmer. It's not as hard as you think. It's not as, and Moira talked about the observer and the, what did you talk about?
The observed and the observer.
And I'm going back to that sort it, because I'm going to put Moira and I in this equation here, because you can tell us this problem. You can tell us this problem and we can go, oh, okay, there's a solution.
Mhm.
You know, I went to an event and I used to have this name called the Cooper Pooper Scooper because my surname was Cooper. And the Cooper, and so they would just come to me and they go, this is a problem. And as soon as they start telling the problem, my solution, oh, here's a solution. And they'd be like, how do you do that so quickly? And I'm like, because I'm not attached to it.
Mhm.
They're like, we've got, so one of the ladies go, oh, we've got people wearing heels and they're stiletto heels and they're not allowed to have heels. I said, oh, it's okay. I've got some spare slippers. I bought slippers from the hotel. I'll give them to them. And they're like, oh, but don't you want to talk to them about the heels? And the lady started talking about the heels and she talked about the whatever the, you can tell I wasn't really listening, the wood that was on and da-da-da. And I was like, it's fine. I've got slippers. Like, I don't want to,
That's like you
I don't
don't
want to
need
have the
to
whole
talk about it anymore.
20 minutes. No, here's your problem. Here's a solution. So Moira and I are bloody good at solution. We are solution based. We're solution in your head. We're solution in your heart.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to do this as another tip. Moira and I. Yeah.
We are.
Yeah, that's it. We are solution based. You tell us the moment you start talking, we go, oh, okay, they're going to belt hand on heart. It's actually going to calm them down. Or let's do the number. Or let's look at gratitude. Or let's look at what, our heads are tick, tick, ticking. So don't get yourself in that
Pickle.
Christmas tree lights. Yeah. Don't stay in that 10. Reach out. If you're in a 10, acknowledge it and reach out because we can go bang, done. And people go, how do you do that so quickly? I do it day in, day out. I literally sit in solution based because I want people to live a fulfilling life. And I know Moira wants that as well.
I absolutely agree with you because that's something that in people say that to me too, is I will sit and listen to your story. But as soon as you started it telling me it, I already know, oh, you just need to do this. Or how about this? Or have a look at it. She
listens to it more than me. Yeah. But it is, it's there's a solution to every. In fact, we've done podcasts on that, haven't we?
Yeah,
we've got a solution to every.
Yeah,
because
a problem can't exist without there being a solution in existence already.
So about a month ago, I was in a pickle. I could not resolve something, and spoke to someone, and they just went. And Moira's really good at that because we talk for an hour and we solve all universal problems very quickly before we start our podcast.
Yep.
But it's just like, oh, this is my problem. And even Moira just goes, what about this? And I'm like, oh, I teach that. Why didn't I think about that?
Yep.
Because even we are skillful at what we do, but even we get into that frazzle, pickle, whatever it is, that 10.
It's part of life. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when you're sitting in it, often don't beat yourself up that I'm a failure, I'm a coach and I can't do this. And who cares? Just righto, move on. Let's just deal with it. Like the more you sit in that funk, the harder it is for you to pull yourself out. So please, Moira and I are here.
Absolutely. And that's actually a really good point too, because the other part about this is if you're in a funk, tell the truth. Because sometimes people in our line of work, or I remember doing a session with she was a intuitive tarot card reader, and she was in a real funk, and it took a lot of work for me to get out of her what was going on, because her mindset was, oh, but I deal with the light. I'm about angels and messages from God and all this kind of stuff. So I cannot admit to that funk. And I'm like,
you're not going to put them on camera and tell the whole world.
Exactly.
This is like, let me just get in there and dig in and see that
tell the truth. It's about telling the truth and saying, you know what, right now I'm in a funk. Okay.
I'm not going to say it.
As you do that, it starts to alleviate and starts to break apart. But until you go, okay, right now, that's where I am.
Yeah.
Then you can't change it.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to laugh at some of the stuff people say. I'm like, I am going to laugh, and
She does. She will,
and I will. But it's like, is that all? Is that your problem? Like that's the biggest problem you've got? Okay, let's go there. Like, it's not as bad as what people think. I think that's the thing, is admitting putting the hand up, I've got a problem. Okay, great. What's your problem? Oh no, I'm having to come to you and I'm having to talk to you and this is how I don't care. What's your problem? Like Cooper Pooper Scooper. Let's just say that like that name, but it became that. It was like, what's your problem? There's a solution. And we are good at that. Right. We can resolve it. So just don't let the whale get you. We've both had the whale.
We have. And so,
and
so
it
the
might come
thing,
back.
the thing is that in telling yourself the truth and saying, yes, I need to reach out to somebody like Deb or somebody like Moira, that's allowing you to stand in the power of being a magnet to solution-focused mentoring or solution. Yeah.
In your heart.
In your heart, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. To heart resolution. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I quite like that's a good title for a workshop, Moira. Heart resolutions.
I like that.
Okay. I like that.
Okay, stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll let you know.
We might have to do just one specifically, a masterclass on heart resolution. Oh, I quite like that. Oh,
yeah.
Shh, don't anyone else take that, please. Or not.
No, but we'll have to ask them to message us and say, yes, I'll sign up for the workshop.
Yeah, I'll do that. That's definitely, yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, you better have a tip. You better have a tip. So, what are you a magnet to?
So I was thinking earlier, and I never got there.
Was that like 30 minutes earlier before we saw it?
No, I was thinking about that the 4 agreements apply in here.
Oh, they come up and
they do. There's so many times we talk about that. But the one that I was thinking of was the making assumptions, because sometimes that what are you a magnet to is like, I'm a magnet to, like, oh, I'm stuck in a traffic jam. Oh, so it's because this, right? And so we assume that we assume that we know what's the answer, or
I love that. Assume. You know what that means.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that. And so that's the thing, is that being I'm thinking of all the 4 agreements, right? So being impeccable with your word means that you're being a magnet to impeccability, to truth, integrity, flow. And so that one, I love that one, because that one is like your thoughts as well as your spoken word, being impeccable with your word. Then the next one is don't take things personally. So you know how we talked earlier about you don't have to agree with somebody. So you get somebody coming in ranting, and you're kind of in the space to hold space. You don't have to agree with them, but don't take it personally either. Right?
So many people do. That I would say, don't take anything personally. You know, when I've talked to people, I would say that's the one that they go, oh no, I can't. I have to take it personally. I'm like, why? This is their stuff. This is their stuff, not yours. Like, seriously? And then I'm like, okay, Deborah, it's clearly their stuff. Let's go down this path. But like all of the 4 agreements are so valid.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we did impeccable with your word. Don't take things personally. And that was the assume one, is the one that made me think of that. And then always do your best. So you being a magnet to things that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed, or I'm tired, or that's okay. Just take yourself, kind of slow things down enough to say, okay, so what is my best now?
Yeah.
What can I do? Not,
or what is my best now, not what is my best 5 years ago.
That's right. Hugely important.
Because we'll just throw that one in right now, not, oh, I used to be able to run 20Ks and now I can't even walk 1K. Okay, let's look at now. Let's forget about your 20Ks, who you were. Because who you were last Christmas, this time last year, pre-2020, like growing up, you're different. Okay, you're different from yesterday.
I know, you can't even compare yourself. You can't, always doing your best. It's going to be different today than it was yesterday. And it'll be different again tomorrow. Yeah. So it's about really staying present. That's what all of this is about. So this has been a very interesting conversation.
This is not what I thought we were doing. Just saying.
Me too. But I think we've got some really juicy nuggets out here. So being aware of the time, let's go back through, and dear listeners, if you didn't start taking notes and writing little things down, we're going to do a little run through recap of what points we covered. And I'm going to kick us off with the first thing that I talked about was I love the title of this, what are you a magnet to? And I talked about asking ourselves what questions is always solution focused. So it's what are you a magnet to? I am solution focused, so that's what I'm magnetizing toward me, right?
Yeah, it's what over why,
Mm-hmm.
what over why, what over why,
I like
what's
that.
showing up.
What over why?
What over why. I love that too. I love that. The next one as I had was written down was watch your words to the universe, to the universe, to others. And I talked about words versus actions. I love you, lip service, versus I'm now going to disappear for 6 months and just come home for 3 hours a night. Okay, well, if you love me, is that your level of love? Okay, well, I just need to reframe what love looks like, because I thought love looked like you being in my space.
Yeah.
So let's look at the words versus the actions, and watch those words, but don't say I need a break.
Yes. Don't do that.
I need a break. I need a break. I'm so tired. I need a break. Well, guess what? We'll put you in a. Yeah, I won't say it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. The next one I had down was to slow down. Slowing down allows us to just check what am I attracting? Being a magnet to things is like that's you're bringing it into your experience, into your energy bubble. So sometimes we need to just slow down. We don't have to stop, but we slow down enough to just be mindful. What are the words that are coming out of my mouth? What are the words that I'm hearing? What are the actions and activities that I'm about to step into? So slowing down enough to pay attention and be aware and align, calibrate to, are you being a magnet to the things that light you up and that make you say yes?
Yeah. My day's changing now as I talk to you. So one I've got is seen, heard, and acknowledged.
Yeah, I like that.
Boom. Seen, heard, acknowledged. Simple, simple, simple. And I'm going to add that little part. You don't have to agree.
Yeah, I love
you don't
that.
have to agree.
Don't have to agree.
Yeah, because you're just gonna, if you go against your morals, ethics, all that, you're not setting your own boundaries to your soul, and it's just going to affect. Well, we did talk about the whale. If you're doing those things against your soul, the whale will come in.
Yep.
So you don't have to agree, but there's a part of that. And I loved, and I'm just going to put the next one in from this because Moira talked about it. And I talked about reframing. And Moira wrote that it's a mundane job. So this is part of the process. It's like a stepping stone. And I love the way that she reframed that, being, okay, you don't have to agree, but you're an employee. And, it's my job and I have to do this. So this is part of the process of my stepping stone. This is part of the experience. Oh, I get to see the value in this and what I'm doing. So when you're reframing things, that's a great way to, you don't have to agree, but, this is part of the process. Okay. And by doing that, it shifts the level of space in your heart.
Yeah, I love that. And how I noted that one down is to watch your labels.
Of course,
how you label it, right? If I go around, this sucks, I hate this. So watching your labels, I think, is a really important part too. Because remember,
because that magnet's going to be
exactly. It's the power of words, right?
Yeah.
The next thing that I had down, and this was one that you riffed about, was about settling things at the time. So this is when we got into the fish discussion. And
I think this is where she told me she fell down the stairs
and she laughed
and fell on her head and broke her arm, and I laughed. I think that's that same one, but we'll go back to the fish analogy. So we don't need to bring that up yet. The fish analogy, sort it.
Yes, sort it. And you know what, the languaging that you use, what are the things that you say, I'll get to it later, or when I have time? I can't be bothered with this right now. Maybe there's things, and if you were slowing down and being mindful, maybe there's things that you're putting off, which of course, when we put things off, we are betraying our own self too. So we don't want to be doing that. We want to magnetize to ourselves calmness, ease, flow, harmony, balance.
You're better to betray other people than your own soul. But if you had a choice, don't do either. But but you're better to betray other people than your own soul, because it does it puts you in that whale situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we talked about a couple of things that I went, these two are separate points. And one was hand on heart.
Yes. And I do it so many times during the day. I think it's such an important piece. Just it's so quick and easy.
It's like it's taking the peaceful pill, but it's instant. It's like it's straight. It's hand on heart. And I love that you actually wrote what's coming in, because I say to myself, I remind myself I'm making decisions here, not in my head. I make them here. And I love that you actually wrote what's coming in when you said hand on heart. And I went, oh, that's a nice one of what's coming in, because it just gives you all the tips before. Slow down, watch your words, reframe, seen, heard. It just puts the whole lot of everything of what's coming in.
Just and helps you, because see, that's what we were talking about. I was saying about being the observed and the observer, the watched and the watcher, is that we can do that when we put our hand on the heart and kind of go, now I get to tell myself the truth about I'm feeling this. And that's when we can start to, do that course correct and get into the sense of ease and balance, right?
Yeah. And it is a course correct. It is. It's that changing of okay. And it's not as frazzling as it thinks. But the next one we threw in after that, and I'm just going to jump in, is that gratitude.
Yeah. Attitude of gratitude.
Yeah. But that's gratitude for the black, for the light, and for the dark, and the highs and the lows, and the reds and the pinks and the oranges.
The purples. And the reds.
And the purples and the golds. Be grateful for the Nemo. Be grateful for the whale. Be grateful for, if you're not waking your day with a sense of gratitude, even if you've had a poop sleep, and you can call a poop sleep, go, well, actually, you know what? I woke up.
Yeah.
Oh, my pillow's actually not as bad as what I thought it was. Okay, I had the dog on here, and I had to lie on my back, and I got a bit of a sore back. But actually, I'm grateful my dog's here, and I'm grateful that I could still sleep, and like wake up and end your day with gratitude. It's not as challenging as what we think.
I don't think it's challenging. I do. No, I do that.
I know, but people go, I forgot to do my gratitude last night. I'm a bad person. I'm like, no. Yeah, no. So gratitude is really important. Absolutely. I'll let you do the next step then.
The next, and this is the last one I have actually, is me and you. Asking.
Oh yes, me and you.
Me and you. So that when you're feeling it, and I talked a bit about this, about telling yourself the truth. If you're feeling in chaos and feeling overwhelmed and feeling like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, reach out for help. Reach out for people that can hold space for you, that can actually help say, oh, how about looking at it this way? Oh, here's the solution. Maybe you could do it this way. Because suffering through, and if you take some of these tips and you start going, oh, I'm a magnet to crazy making, chaos, and overwhelm. Oh, hey, that's a great place to start. Ask for help. Reach out.
You can reach out at the Nemo.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to reach out when the whale comes. You can reach out at the Nemo, and I tell you what, it's a lot quicker to deal with it at the Nemo than it is with the whale.
Yes, because you can do it like right there and right then. Whereas it's the heavier and heavier, the more unpacking and the more techniques and healing and help that is required. Yeah. Timing is important in there.
And that's what we talked about, the magnet to the heart resolutions.
That's right. That's right. Which who knows? Maybe that'll become.
You never know. It's going to come up there. I think there's something. But the last one, Moira, even though she didn't write it down, I wrote it down, and that was the 4 agreements. Right. I wrote this rundown. It is the 4 agreements.
Yes.
I reckon we start and end, or the 4 agreements seem to have been in ours pretty much 80% of all of our podcasts.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Because they're just so simple, and they are: be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. If you just wrote those down on a post-it note on your computer or anything, and when something happens, I thought Moira's going to show me that. When something happens, you can just, it's as simple as that. Like, it can just tone you right down. And then I would actually say the next post-it note is hand on heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't find it, but I did have a little card sitting there saying, today I'm going to be Today I'm going to be impeccable with my word. Today I'm not going to take anything personally. Today I'm not making any assumptions. And today I'm doing my best.
Well, I've been tidying my office, so I've got my 4 agreements actually written out on my, and I've just got to laminate them, and then they'll be going back on my wall.
Very good.
But it's simple. It is just simple. Keep it super simple. Kiss.
Yes, the KISS method. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, today's a goodie.
This has been really good. I love this. I'd love to hear from our listeners. What was your favorite tip? What do you feel like you're a magnet to? And also, what number were you at the beginning and where are you now?
I know where I am and I know where Moira would be.
Yep.
I'm going to say I'm a 0. 100% I'm a 0.
Yep.
I'm going to look at a couple of things today, though, but I still feel it. I feel now that 0 is actually not a 0. It's actually an inspired, different level of 0. Not a, I just need to rest now. Just going to have a moment. It's not that 0. It's actually, I've got this kick back inside of me again.
Some pep.
And that's,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. And I am a 0 also. I am feeling really calm and maybe I'm more at the end of the day kind of going.
Because she's at the, it's 10:25 here in the morning.
And it's about almost 6 o'clock.
So she can have that little, that change of thingy.
What a lovely day. See, I can get into appreciation and gratitude.
Yeah, totally.
So we would love to hear where our listeners were to begin with. And we'd love to also hear how did these tips go for you? How do you feel?
What one did you like the most, or that hit, or maybe that hit you the hardest? Like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, dear listeners, we trust you got value and this filled your cup up. If you liked this, if you loved this, your next step is to share it. Share it with people that you know need to be uplifting or a little bit of a boost. Share it with people that you want to celebrate with, that you would love to magnetize towards yourself more. Just share it. Sharing it helps you be very aware of what are you a magnet to. Are you a magnet to Debz and Moira's wisdom? And then sharing it.
Yes.
Making a difference in other people's lives too. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
What a beautiful podcast. Thank you, Moira, and thank you to the listeners, and thank you to the internet that it worked.
Thank you. Awesome internet. Yeah. Awesome. I love this conversation. Thank you very much, Deb. And dear listeners, we'll be back with you again next week. Much love. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.